Hello students, myself Dinkar Satonkar again welcomes all of you on this part 8 of chapter motion. In part 7 we have studied about the concept of acceleration, and today in this part we are going to see about the positive and negative acceleration. What is the meaning of positive acceleration and what is the meaning of negative acceleration? While discussing the concept of the acceleration, we have studied that acceleration is a vector quantity, and since acceleration is a vector quantity, uh, it needs the direction to represent the acceleration quantity completely. Now, what is the significance of positive and negative acceleration? Let us first try to understand it, because positive and negative acceleration, uh, this positive and negative word tells us about the direction in which the acceleration exerts on the object, and in which direction the acceleration of the object during the motion is performed. That is understand with the help of positive and negative acceleration. So while discussing the acceleration, we have seen the formula for acceleration is a is equals to v minus u divided by t. However, the definition of acceleration, we have seen that acceleration is rate of change of velocity with respect to time. So whenever the object is performing the motion, and if the object initially have some different velocity, finally the object have some different velocity, when we take the difference between final velocity and initial velocity of the object, when we take the rate of change of this velocity with respect to time, this particular quantity is called as an acceleration. Now, when an object is performing its motion, sometimes the velocity of the object increases, sometimes the velocity of the object decreases. Initially the velocity of the object is something different, finally the velocity of the object is something different. So depending upon this initial and final velocity, the positive and negative acceleration, this concept arises over here. So let us first try to understand what is called as the positive acceleration. This positive word associated with this acceleration tells us about the direction in which the motion of an object accelerates. So if you see the definition of the positive acceleration, then we can see that if the velocity of the body increases with time in the direction of the motion, then the acceleration is called as the positive acceleration. Here in this definition, the velocity of the body which is performing the motion, it increases. That means the initial velocity is less and the final velocity is more over here, but this increment in the velocity is in the direction of the motion. That's why while discussing the concept of the acceleration, I told you that acceleration is a vector quantity. Direction of the acceleration is important. So that's why here the velocity of the body increases, but this increment in the velocity of the object with respect to time is in the direction of the motion. So such a type of velocity, when it is increasing, and that velocity which is increasing we have taken with respect to time, then this particular acceleration is called as the positive acceleration. There is a condition for the positive acceleration, with the help of which this condition we can easily understand that what kind of acceleration is this, because in numericals many times a situation is been given that initially the object is performing the velocity, something different velocity is there, and finally the object is performing with some different velocity, and depending upon this initial and final velocity we have to decide what kind of acceleration is it, whether this is a positive acceleration or whether this is a negative acceleration. So this is the very important condition for the acceleration to be positive, that here v should be greater than u. Now what is this v? V is nothing but the final velocity of the object, and u is nothing but the initial velocity of the object. So in short, we can consider that if an object is performing the motion, and during the motion final velocity of the object is greater than the initial velocity of the object, that is v is greater than u, then definitely in that case the acceleration is a positive acceleration. So here the formula for the acceleration we can rewrite as it is, that acceleration a is equals to v minus u divided by t. But if you apply this condition in this formula, that is v minus u since v is greater than u, so that's why this particular quantity which is coming in the numerator, definitely this quantity will be a positive quantity. So that's why the quantity which is coming out to be acceleration over here, this quantity is definitely a positive quantity. So that's why this answer which is coming over here is positive. That's why this acceleration is called as a positive acceleration. Positive acceleration gives us the direction in which the object is moving. So for that reason, by seeing the positive sign before this acceleration, we can say that initially the object is having less velocity, but finally the velocity of the object is definitely more. What is the example of the positive acceleration? Now normally we have seen that when the object is dropped from a height, because of the gravitational force of earth, the object falls on the surface of the earth. So during this motion, when the object is considered a falling object under the influence of only the gravitational force of attraction, then that particular object is called as a freely falling body. And whenever this freely falling body is considered, the acceleration of the freely falling body is always a positive acceleration. So here the example for positive acceleration is nothing but acceleration of the body falling freely under the influence of gravity, then that acceleration is a positive acceleration. Normally this kind of acceleration, which is the acceleration due to gravity, that is gravitational force of attraction of the earth, this acceleration is represented by the alphabet g, which tells us that this is an acceleration due to gravity. So this is also a vector quantity which specifies the direction that the object is moving in downward direction. So this is all about what we call about the positive acceleration. Let us see what is called as a negative acceleration. Now this negative acceleration can also be called as the retardation. So this is one and the same meaning over there. Negative acceleration is nothing but which is also called as the retardation. Retardation, the meaning of retardation is something is about to stop, or something where the velocity of the object is becoming less. So this particular retardation word tells us about that the object is gradually it is stopping, or gradually the velocity, or the object is performing the velocity in such a way that the velocity is decreasing and decreasing. Now since the negative word is associated with this acceleration, definitely this negative sign over here represents that this is the acceleration, which is a kind of acceleration whose direction is opposite to the direction of the velocity or direction of the motion. So if you see the definition of the negative acceleration, then negative acceleration's definition can be stated as, if the velocity of the body decreases with the time, then the acceleration is called as the negative acceleration. What is the meaning of this particular statement? The meaning of this particular statement is that initially the velocity of the object is more, but gradually if the velocity of the object becomes less, then the acceleration performed by the body is considered as the negative acceleration. So like positive acceleration, there is a condition for negative acceleration also. This condition for negative acceleration, that here final velocity of the object is less than the initial velocity of the object. So v is less than u over here. Now what is the comparison between the positive and negative acceleration? If you see the condition over here, v is greater than u in positive acceleration, but in negative acceleration v is less than u. So this is an important aspect over here, which is tells a comparison between positive and negative acceleration. So here v is less than u. Now if I put this value in the general formula of the acceleration, then I can write acceleration a is equals to v minus u divided by t. Since here v is less, so this value which is coming out to be here, definitely this value will be a negative value. Since this value is a negative value, this acceleration is considered as a negative acceleration. Negative acceleration is also called as the retardation. Now the direction of the negative acceleration is important to understand over here, because the direction of the negative acceleration is always, it is opposite to the direction of the velocity. Suppose if the object is moving in this direction, let us take an example of bicycle. Let us take an example of your bike. Suppose if you are going by bicycle, somebody comes across you, or some speed breaker comes before you, then you apply the brakes. The moment you apply the brakes, your initial velocity is more, and after applying the brakes, your vehicle is about to stop, or gradually the velocity decreases. So in this particular acceleration, now it is acting in opposite direction. So that's why in negative acceleration, the direction of the acceleration is always opposite to the direction of the motion or direction of the velocity. What is the example over here? The example for negative acceleration is the exactly opposite to the acceleration which is performed when a body is freely falling body. So if I throw an object in upward direction, then the object which is thrown in upward direction has the negative acceleration. So that's why the acceleration of the body moving vertically upward is called as the negative acceleration. Positive acceleration and negative acceleration, these are very important concepts, because in numericals we have to frequently use the sign convention when it is stated as the positive acceleration or it is stated as the negative acceleration. So hope this is clear to you. In next part, again we will meet with the new concept. Till then, you please understand and study this positive and negative acceleration. Thank you.